Don't you touch that mouse. Gun Talk's not done yet, not by a long shot. Thanks for hanging around. Man, have we got a treat for you. This is the Gun Talk After Show. This is what we call, down in Louisiana, lagniappe. A little something extra for free. This is where you can call in and ask those questions that are maybe too hot for the radio, or just take a little extra time to explain. So, welcome back in, Tom, Jim Kinsey, our show producer, Michael, and Michelle. Let's do this, guys. Take it away.
We're now in this crazy, upside-down, bizarro world we call the After Show. Michael's with us. Hey, Michael.
Greetings. How are you?
And Michelle.
Hello, Tom.
Howdy. And Mr. Kinsey.
Hello.
James, the guy that makes it all run back there.
Yeah, the guy with the runs. Wait a minute.
Wait.
Was that what you said?
You know, what, it took like 20 seconds for this thing to go downhill.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jim.
I just wait till we're off satellite for that stuff.
He's got a list, actually. He writes it on napkins during the show.
Yeah, he needs to put it in flash paper so he can just, make it burn up when the feds kick in the door.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, my gosh. The revenuers. There you go. Yeah. Boy, we were kind of all over the place
Today was a cool
show.
show, yeah. I liked the Mossad part. That was great.
Boy, what a good book. I mean, seriously, this. You guys were actually saying that you might be getting it?
I'm getting it for Christmas gifts for people.
Oh,
I think
cool.
it's a cool gift for anybody I know that carries.
It's called Deadly Force, Understanding Your Right to Self-Defense. And it's not a, how to carry any of that stuff. It's the legal aspects of, and not just, so much of it is counter to what you're being told. He says, well, some people say, if you shoot somebody, the police, when they get there, don't talk to them. He says, I think that's a bad idea. He says, I think if you did everything right, if you're in the right, you need to talk to them. Don't be the jackass who says, I'm waiting for my lawyer to show up. Yeah, you don't want to talk too much, but there are a few things you need to say, and he tells you what you need to be able to say.
Right, and that is contradictory to what we've been schooled in the past. Better just say, I feel more comfortable talking to my lawyer right off the bat. And they're
yeah, and he says, point out some things. Say, look, he tried to kill me. I thought he was going to kill me. That would be good to establish right off the bat. And one of the things I know is that the responding officer's impression is really important throughout the whole process, to whether the district attorney charges, in testimony. He says, well, he was acting suspicious and he wouldn't talk to us and he was uncooperative. Well, that goes a long way to everybody. But if he says, he was clearly a good guy here and he was frightened and he was scared and, blah, 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 that's going to help you.
Right, and the cops are talking to the prosecutor and vice versa, and they're asking for the guy in the trenches. What was it like when you arrived?
Yeah,
this
what
guy
do you think?
Right, no, this guy was legit. It was a clean shoot.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good book. Very, very good. I think people like that. I liked having Liam in from Top Gun Supply, just talking about all these deals. He actually had several I was not aware of. The HK $200 rebate is cool.
Those are neat guns.
Those are great guns. They just, there are guns out there that when you talk about them, everybody goes, well, I don't want to spend the money, but man, it's a great gun. Everybody knows it's a good gun. The HKs qualify. Everybody knows those are really good guns. We're getting $200 back is a heck of a deal.
Hell, you can get that $200 back and apply it towards an AR, which you can now get for under $200.
What were you telling me offline?
I think it was Ayers Armory or somebody. Somebody sent me a junk email that I just shot off to spam folder. I can go research it, but it was a complete upper for $79. I don't know if that's with or without barrel. It sounded like it was. It said fully assembled. So let's even say it wasn't for now. Okay. And then combining it with the thing we talked a few weeks ago about Brownells having $49 lowers. Mm-hmm. If you were to buy those two with a transfer fee, even if it was $50, you'd still be well under $200.
And I think the lower, the $49 lower, you still have to get the kit, the rest of it, because it doesn't come with the trigger and all the rest of that stuff.
So by the time you buy everything, you're still a third of what an AR cost you a year and a half ago.
Well, yeah, I mean, so you're into $300. Big deal. Right. It's, amazing. So, yeah, it's crazy times. It really is. Tell you what, before they get tired, let's get Gary in here on line one. He's out of Ohio. Hey, Gary, thanks for holding. How are you?
No, I'm not putting Glock ammo through a 30-30. I heard you guys on me.
We were having fun with you, man.
I know. You guys got a great show, by the way.
Thanks.
Listen to the time.
So tell us what's going on here. We were, and we were just messing with you.
I know. I knew you guys.
So what's going on, really?
I don't know. It's from my granddad. It was like a 50 or 60 Winchester lever action, and it's always been pretty good. I keep it clean. I keep it lubed. And I ain't shot it in a decade. But anyway, so I bought brand new ammo, and it kind of reminded me of that infield question you had on the show. Maybe I'm buying the wrong rim, or is that new in the last while? Because it's brand new 30-30 Winchester ammo through a Winchester, and it will not feed it in. I can just open the breech, throw one in, and then I can fire it, and it's true and everything, but it will not feed from the...
It'll go into the gun, it'll go into the loading gate and go into the magazine, okay, right?
Correct, and then it jams up as it's trying to feed in, so I'm sitting there, fiddling around trying to get that out.
Does it only happen with the new ammo?
I don't have any other of the old or anything, you know what I mean? I was like, I ain't fired this in forever. I'm going to take it out and shoot it.
Huh, okay. I don't know. I mean, I would get a box of a different brand of ammo. Try that. I mean, I'm trying to eliminate, what we want to do is eliminate variables at the inexpensive end first. If for some weird reason your gun doesn't like a particular kind of ammo, I would try to eliminate that. But it sounds like maybe something has gone on with this gun, and you may need to get it to a gunsmith.
And then the other question was regarding my Glock 19. I bought it new back in, 90. Always fired true. I don't take it out that often. That's my home defense, Anyway, took it out, and this is going on 2 years now. It'll let me have a day of shooting, feel great, clean it up, do everything awesome. And my thing was, like, they always marketed it, you throw it under a tank, run it over, and it'll fire. Well, this thing is hanging up, and I think maybe in cleaning I've been too rough or whatever. On occasion, it'll let me shoot around and jam up. The rest of the day, you're just done. And then you'll clean it, take it back out, buy a different ammo, and they'll let you shoot 3 and jam up. And I'm like, I've contacted Smyrna, and I don't know if this is BS or not. Are you able to send your stuff back to Glock and have them just check it out?
Well, sure. If you contact them, I mean, you would need to contact them first, and then they would need to say, okay, yeah, we'd like to look at it. And they may or may not send you a box or pay the shipping. I don't know how Glock's policies work. But then you can send them the gun, and they'll check it and make sure it's working okay, and then they'll send it back to you.
Yeah, I never got a reply, so I was thinking that there's 2 gunsmith money-making opportunities right there. So I just take it to my local guy because he's Glock certified or whatever. So
yeah, take it to your local guy. Yeah, and you tried it with different ammo, right?
Yeah.
And you're still getting jamming problems with it. Something's going on. And my guess is it's pretty simple. Well, you know what? It's got to be simple because the Glock is simple. Michael, you're a Glock guy. You got any thoughts?
Well, I'm thinking it could either be the recoil spring or the mag. I mean, do you know the last time you changed the recoil spring, or have you?
Never.
Okay. After 10,000 rounds or less, they do recommend you replace that. If you've had it since the 90s, it's only like $15. Brownells has got it. I'd pick one of those up. Try that first. Now, does it do it with all the mags you've got?
I've only got 2, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, that's the first thing I do.
I would check recoil spring first, and it's real easy to replace.
Roger that. I was just thinking it's like some kind of, that it's, I don't know how to describe it because I don't know the nomenclature. It's a reverse. It's sticking back at you, and maybe I got too rough cleaning or whatever, and I bent that a little bit. I would call that the alignment.
Are you talking about the extractor right there?
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, as long as you're not putting rounds in the actual breech, you're loading from magazine, the chances of you bending that are pretty slim.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a good point. Just to remind people, you always load it from the magazine. Do not drop a loose round into the gun and then drop the slide. Never, ever.
Now, is that for all guns or just handguns?
Pretty much all handguns. I mean, they're designed to feed from the magazine. That's how you should do it. And frankly, I would do it with semi-automatic rifles also. Now, have I been known to do it? Yeah, sure, of course. But it's just not good for your gun. So, but Gary, that's what I do. I'm with Michael. I think you probably look at a recoil spring, spend $15, replace that. Thing is, you're going to need a recoil spring anyway. You should have... What is it, 10,000 rounds, you say, Michael?
Yeah, that's what they recommend. But, I mean, I did mine at about, because I noticed the gun, when I was putting it into a tight holster, would sort of push out of battery just the slightest bit. Mm-hmm. And when I replaced that recoil spring, it probably only had about maybe 1,500 rounds through it. But, hey, I just replaced it. And it doesn't do that anymore. So
yeah, it's just cheap maintenance. And look, these are mechanical devices. You have to do maintenance on them. So just, it's like changing the oil, change the recoil spring, big deal. All right, Gary, let's appreciate it and thank you. And thanks for your sense of humor, for understanding we're messing with you there. I do want to get Justin in before we hit our break here. Line 2 out of Amarillo, Texas. Hi, Justin.
Hey, Tom.
So what you got? What you doing?
Well, last Saturday, I got my first opportunity to do a real good deer hunt, and I took my AR out there, and you mentioned that a couple weeks ago, people deer hunting with an AR. And my host was talking about, he uses a 223 rifle as well, but he takes neck shots and always drops them, is what he said. But I recalled maybe a year ago or something, you said something about not taking a neck shot with the 223. Is that right?
Well, it just all depends. I mean, you have to understand that sometimes some of the recommendations I make are because I'm talking to the general public. And a lot of people in the general public can't shoot for beans. So, I mean, come on. I mean, let's get serious. A neck is a smaller target. It moves around more than the body does as the head moves around. And if you can hit a deer or a critter in the neck and not hit a vital area and have a terrible wound and they run off and you don't get them. So that's kind of why I'm not a particular fan of neck shots. Having said that, if you're a really good shot and you've got a good rest and the critter's not moving and you know what you're doing, knock yourself out. Do what you got to do. But for when you're just talking to everyday people and you don't know the skill level they may have, I like to recommend that right behind the shoulder. And people need to understand, when I say behind the shoulder, I'm not talking about 6 inches behind the shoulder. I'm talking about a half inch behind that back line where the front shoulder is, basically shooting right on that line on a broadside shot. So you're trying for the heart-lung area. That gives you a lot of lee room. You've got leeway. You've got probably a 5-inch leeway one way or the other. So anyway, that's what I'm thinking. So I hope that helps. But yeah, if you're good at it, go ahead and knock yourself out.
I took your advice before, and I did take a heart shot and got my first doe. Okay,
good deal. Now, are we using 223?
Yes, sir. I was a 64 grain caliber. I mean, a round specifically for deer. Yes, sir.
Outstanding. That's a great deer round. Well, that'll work. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I did guys, I went out and did a little deer hunting yesterday morning. Didn't shoot anything, but hey, at least I got to spend some time out there. But it's funny because as I was leaving the house, or before I left the house, I asked my wife, I said, well, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to shoot a deer, but we're new to the area here, and I'm not sure what processor to take it to. I'm not sure what I want to do with it. She said, I know what you want to do with it. Steaks and burger. That's what we're talking about here. We are big into venison chili and burger, venison spaghetti. Yeah, wonderful. Venison just has that, it's a more robust taste. It's got a little bit something extra going for it. I just love venison.
Now, do you hunt with 223 sometimes?
I don't, actually. I just tend to like a little bit bigger guns. And no, look, to be fair, it's not like I have one gun and I have to make that work for everything.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right.
Okay, so I guess everybody's laughing, going, yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Captain Obvious is showing
Understatement of the year.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay. So I get to kind of pick and say, yeah, I'll take the 257 or a 7mm08 or a 7 mag or whatever. I have shot deer with weird stuff. I've killed deer with a 338 Win Mag, which is also what you'd hunt lions with. And it'll kill them. It absolutely will.
No such thing as overkill.
That's right. It's just as dead as it could be. It just fell right down, like it was supposed to.
You want something left to eat.
Well, it's an interesting point you make. Weirdly enough, sometimes the small calibers
do more damage.
Can do more damage to meat than the big calibers.
Why is that?
Because on the big calibers, they generally have heavier constructed bullets, and they don't expand as rapidly. And so they're kind of punching a hole through, whereas a small caliber going high velocity, you have bullets that really blow up quickly, expand very fast, and it can blow the heck out of a bunch of meat. So people are sometimes surprised they'll shoot a deer with a 243, especially if they hit them right on the shoulder. It can tear up a shoulder. And I always like it. People say, well, I want something that'll kill them, but I don't want anything that'll tear up the meat. Well, the way you kill them is by destroying tissue. So this is a balancing act between the two, which is, frankly, going right back to our caller, why some people like to shoot them in the neck, because that way they're not messing up as much meat.
Well,
So
that philosophy holding true, you'd use a slingshot.
Well, there's a story.
Oh, no.
I don't.
Can of worms that I opened.
Okay, it's the after show. I can tell the story, okay? I was not there. I have no knowledge of this, Senator. But I am told about somebody who hit a deer with a car, crippled the deer up badly.
A friend of yours.
Yes, wasn't me. No, seriously, this time it wasn't. Because if it had been me, I'd have just shot the deer, right? Put it out of its misery. They did not have a gun. Have I told you the story?
No.
Mm-mm.
But what they did have, bubble wrap and duct tape.
What?
And suffocated the deer.
Oh, my gosh.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not. This is why we carry guns, people.
Well, you know, I was going to say a similar situation, but it's not at all similar. A week after I'd bought my Kia years ago, I hit a deer on the expressway. It just came out of the wood line, and I smoked it, and it went over the hood of the car and scared the crap out of me, and luckily I didn't wreck the car any more than I'd already, hitting the deer to cause damage. But the police officer that arrived when I called the police actually had to dispatch the deer with her pistol, her service pistol. I wasn't carrying at the time. I didn't own a gun at the time, and but you could hear it suffering,
Sure.
So she ended up dispatching. And then she asked me, do you want to take it home? It's yours. I said, where am I going to put it on top of a Kia? No, thank you.
See, for that, you'd want the duct tape.
In the back seat.
Yeah.
Well, there's an interesting question. What if you're in city limits and you take out a deer and it's not dead and you have to dispatch it?
You might want to call the police.
You better do not be shooting at it, because they're going to roll up and smoke you, and then they're going to throw you up on the hood of the car
Right.
and take you home. So there you go.
You might have survived if you didn't field dress him.
That's right. He was okay until you gutted him right there. That's right. Oh, Lord. I tell you what, let's take a quick break and see if we can't calm this idiocy down. Probably not, but we'll give it a shot. All right, we'll be right back.
The 100% American-made Ruger American Rifle is now paired with the 100% American-made Redfield Revolution 4-Plex Rifle Scope, making it an American icon and rifle scope package offering. The Ruger American Rifle with Redfield Revolution Rifle Scope maintains all of the features of the full-size Ruger American Rifle, and also includes a Redfield Revolution 3 to 9x40 rifle scope that offers resettable stainless steel finger-click AccuTrack adjustment. The Ruger American Rifle with Redfield Revolution Rifle Scope, another American-made product from Ruger.
All right, we're back with you. It's the after show, because where else would you hear silliness like this? So, Michelle, we're headed toward Christmas time, holiday season. Thoughts on shooting gifts? I thought that we had a pretty good suggestion from one of our guests when he mentioned a range bag. I thought that was a great idea.
No, that's an excellent idea. And actually, since we had talked last week and threw lots of different ideas out there, of course, I'm wandering through the store, which is a great place to buy any person with a firearm a gift in a firearm store. But, there's so many things that are so particular to firearms. And one of the, I think, best things and maybe most overlooked are gunsmithing tools. And they are very much different than your ordinary hardware tools. They're made specifically for sights and for push tools and designed for this different screw sizes and everything that we have in the firearm. So I think a gunsmithing toolkit and a very nice vise for your bench and cleaning pad or a bench mat is an excellent combination to get somebody as a gift.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a great idea. For those who don't quite understand, a gunsmith screwdriver set, for instance, has hollow ground bits, so that when the actual bit part that goes down into the screw goes down, it's not at an angle. The sides of the screwdriver bit are not angled. They're actually parallel and go straight. So you end up with much more contact on the screw, and it's much stronger, and you can turn a screw without it slipping out or
scratching your gun,
scratching it up, or boogering up the screw heads, that kind of a deal.
Right. There's so many times that, people bring in firearms because they've torqued down a screw too much or they've broken the head off. And, you have, unfortunately, an expense that goes along with that, with the gunsmithing, having to remove those screws. So I think that's one of the biggest tips I can give.
I have broken many a bit on a set of Brownell's gunsmith screwdrivers, but that's a good thing, because if you're cranking on it and torquing it, those bits are designed to break before you mess up the screw. Right. At that point, you say, okay, I'm probably not able to do this. I might want to get this to a gunsmith who has the tools and the skills to do this. I've always loved the Brownell screwdriver sets, so I'm a real fan of those.
You're talking about holidays and shooting gifts. If you're going to do that, make sure they're downrange.
When you're going to shoot gifts?
Yeah.
Shooting gifts, okay.
Oh, gosh.
You are a sick puppy. That's just all there is to it.
Thank you.
Right. But you're our kind of guy, so there you go.
It says a lot about your judgment of character.
Yeah, no kidding. That's right. Well, you're the only people who will hang out with me, so that's what I got.
We're buddies by default.
Yeah, that's right. So nobody else will play with us.
Hey, I got a question for you, Tom.
Go for it.
And I already know the answer, but I want you to state it for the general audience.
Thank you.
Sighting a rifle yesterday, sighting a shotgun scope for a buddy of mine yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We ran into the proverbial, do you put the crosshairs towards where you want it to go or towards where it just was? So I promised him I would ask you. This is for you, Todd.
If you're shooting at the bullseye, and say the bullet holes are hitting high and right, you want to adjust it. On the scope, there's a right and a left and an up and a down.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want the bullet hole to go down, you turn the scope down. Okay. If you want the bullet holes to go left, you turn it in the direction of the L for left.
Okay. That's what we ended up doing, but it took a couple times to get that.
But if you do it the wrong way, it's okay because you'll figure it out because it's going to go way off in the other direction.
Well, have you ever heard of a scope taking 64 clicks to the right to get it on?
Yes, but there's something wrong when that happens.
Okay. Because we got it, but it was massive.
Could be a couple of things. One is the scope rings / mounts are off or weren't put on correctly. It's also possible. Let me ask you this. This was on a shotgun?
Yep. Mossberg.
Was it already drilled for scope mounts?
I don't know. He mounted it, and I asked him if the scope was firm, and he said, yeah, I didn't look that close. And we checked to make sure it was on there firm, but I didn't look to see if it's something he had drilled or it wasn't your typical clamp fit.
It doesn't take much misalignment when you're drilling the holes to mount a scope onto a gun. If they're off even slightly, you can imagine how many clicks it's going to take to correct that inside the scope.
Yeah, 64.
Yeah, 64. That's how many it takes. There you go.
And there could be far too much torque on that scope too with the rings as well.
That's true. And the other thing is, if it takes 64 clicks to get it sighted in, that's not good because now what's happened is you've moved the crosshairs over. You're actually not looking through the center of the optics of the glass.
Okay.
And so I would be... If it were me, I would want to find out what's going on. I would try to get the crosshairs back to center. The problem is, all right, here's a question for you. How do you get the crosshairs back to center?
Hello, customer service?
Yeah. All right, what you need is a V-block. Lacking a V-block, we get you a smaller cardboard box and cut 2 V-notches in it so that you can drop the scope, take the scope off, drop the scope into these little V-blocks, right? Okay. These little V-notches.
Okay.
And then just spin the scope in the V as you look through it at a target.
Yeah.
And you will see the crosshairs going around and around. You see where I'm going, don't you?
Yeah, beautiful. Simple.
And then you center them up. And then now, as you turn the scope, the crosshairs, if they're centered, they're going to stay right on the target.
Yeah. Well, how neat. You sure know a lot about guns, Mr. Tom.
I sure do pass along stuff I heard from other people and say that it was my own. I didn't make up any of this stuff. I just remember the stuff I read other places. So that's what you do. But yeah, you can do that. Now, it sounds like a real tedious thing. Personally, I think what you should do is just throw it away.
Give it to me.
Call Michelle, buy another scope.
It was a Nikon. It was a $150 scope, and it was nice.
Oh, it's a good scope.
Yeah, real
okay.
Nice.
Then there's something wrong with the mounting system. And then, Michelle, I think you're right. It's whether it's the torque, whether the mounting bases are off slightly. If he drilled and tapped the holes into the gun itself, that could be all sorts of problems.
Yeah,
but there's just, and the other thing is, some scope mounting systems have adjustments available in the mount before you start turning the adjustments on the scope. Use those first, always, to get the scope as close as you can on target before you start adjusting the internal adjustments for the crosshairs.
Okay, I will pass that information. That's for you, Todd.
There you go. So this was on a scope on a shotgun, huh?
Yeah, Mossberg.
And he's going to be hunting deer?
Deer hunting, yeah, with sabos. We were shooting sabos.
Cool. What caliber? 12?
It was a 12.
What caliber? 12 gauge?
Yeah, it was 12 gauge. And it was, funny thing was, he bought a bunch of just cheap slugs just to dial it in. And it took us so long to dial in, he ended up going through his Hornady, too.
Ah, okay.
So he'll be going back to the store today.
Yeah, the sabo slugs are. I had somebody write me. He said, "Hey, somebody was going to be slave's going to be hunting, and she's going to use a shotgun. But in Illinois, I found out that she could actually use a rifle, but they have to use pistol calibers. And how can I get her?" And I wrote it back and said, "Look, she may have exactly the right gun because she's using a 20 gauge shotgun." I said, "If you get a 20 gauge with fully rifled barrel with these sabo slugs, you can absolutely hit deer and kill deer at 150 yards with that rig. Easy, not a big deal. And you know what? 150 yards, you might as well be shooting a rifle chambered for 44 Magnum for sure."
Now, are all shotgun barrels rifled?
No. You have to
I
get
wonder
specific.
if that could be an issue, too. If you're shooting sabos through a non-rifled...
Can't you get rifled rounds?
If he's shooting sabos through a non-rifled barrel,
That's what I'm
he might as well be throwing spitballs.
Well, but was it consistent downrange?
They were consistent once we found it. We were shooting way left. We found it. We dialed it in. And
Okay.
Yeah, so that probably wasn't the case because they would be all over the place.
They would.
So he has a rifled barrel, odds are?
He either has a rifle barrel or a rifle's choke tube, which is not nearly as good.
Yeah, you're only
fully
twisting
rifled
it at
barrels
the
would
end,
be
yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And to your point, Michael, yes, there are rifled slugs that you use in smoothbore barrels. The thing is, they have rifling on this big chunk of lead. They also are called a Foster slug. They don't actually spin.
Is it just for like aerodynamics after it leaves?
That's marketing. It's basically like a badminton shuttlecock where all the weight's in the front, and that's why they make the back end of it hollow. Because all you're doing is throwing this thing out, and it goes forward. It doesn't tumble simply because all the weight's in the front.
Like a badminton birdie.
Like a badminton birdie, exactly. And that's why they're only accurate out to about 50 yards, maybe.
A shuttlecock.
A shuttlecock.
Now, are sabos less accurate than a rifle round just because of the nature of a big dumb piece of lead with a little plastic sleeve on?
A sabo is... shooting it through a fully rifled shotgun barrel, they're pretty darn accurate. I mean, you could shoot 2 or 3 inch groups at 100 yards with it.
Okay.
Jeez, now I'm really wondering if my shotgun's rifled. I got to go home and look. Just really curious.
Well, most shotgun barrels are not rifled. Only the ones that are designed for shooting sabo slugs are designed for deer hunting.
It's a clone of a Remington 870, so I'm guessing no.
Probably not then, no. But because you can pop the barrel off, you can buy a fully rifled barrel and pop it on there, use that for hunting if you wanted to. But that would be... Then you would not want to use that for shotguns because it would spin the shot load and the shot cup, and now it'd throw your pattern real wide. So.
Oh, okay. All right, well, cool.
But it's one of the reasons that shotguns are so wonderful. They're so versatile. You could do all these different things with different loads in them.
You should have your own radio show about guns. You know a lot of stuff about them.
I'm online right now. I'm reading all this stuff. It's okay. As long as you have Google, man, you are good to go. You can do this stuff. I'm telling you. So. I was reading one of my favorite magazines, no kidding, is Shooting Sportsman. It's not a real well-known magazine, and it's for shotgunning. But they have the coolest articles if you really want to get geeky into shotguns and going to cool places and wing shooting and all. And the guy was making the point about shotguns. He says, and I kind of alluded to it earlier in the show, you have different shotguns for different things. Like you have a deer hunting shotgun, and then if you're going to be shooting quail, you might use 20 gauge or 28 gauge for upland birds. But if you were shooting pheasants, you'd probably want a 12 gauge because those are bigger birds and you shoot them at longer range. And then if you're going to be shooting waterfowl, ducks and geese, that might require a different shotgun. Yes, you could do it all with one shotgun, but it's not as efficient and it's not going to be as much fun. It's why look, none of us has just one gun, right?
Well, are you asking me or what I told my wife?
Oh, yes. No, I know better. I know how many guns I don't know how many guns your wife has, but I know it's more than one.
Okay, go ahead and say it. She shoots better than me too, Tom. It's okay.
But but who doesn't?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Good point.
A bicycle rolling uphill shoots better than you do.
Oh, geez. Ouch. Ooh-wee. Strong.
My biggest problem is what gun am I going to wear on a given day? now that it's winter, we do have a lot more opportunity to wear some of our bigger rigs. And
like ARs and shotguns.
Well, yeah. But I found that I'm still carrying the smaller gun every day, and I don't know what my problem is.
Why are you choosing one? There's your problem.
Well, I know I could carry two.
Which one are you carrying?
I'm just carrying that little Ruger LCR.
He's in love.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it.
You're currently having a fling with the LCR.
I am.
It's okay.
It's a great little gun.
Wrong. It is a great little gun. I mean, truly, it is a great little gun. But to your point, yes, when winter comes around, you're wearing a little few more clothes. But once you take your jacket off, you're still just wearing a shirt and pants.
True.
So you're back to how am I going to conceal this thing? Well,
hopefully, yeah.
Okay. So I've been bouncing back and forth recently between the 1911.
Yes.
And a Springfield XDM and a Springfield XDS and the Ruger LCP little 380. It's as they say, it's the gun you carry when you don't want to carry a gun.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And it can go in my hip pocket, and it looks like a wallet back there. So, and rarely do I carry two. I know people talk about carrying two, but I don't know. I just rarely carry two pistols. Do you guys?
I did yesterday for the first time, actually, because I actually had the Glock in my inside the waistband holster, and I saw the Ruger sitting there on the nightstand looking at me, and I was like, oh, it was like, take me with you. Put it in its pocket holster and threw it in my pocket.
Michelle, can you not do anything with him? Can you? Can you fix him?
I can go smack him down for you, Tom.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Here's the question for you, Michael. Then, when you're carrying two guns, do you sometimes think, probably I should carry three?
No, that didn't cross my mind. With the two speed loaders in my pocket and the extra mag on the left side of my body, I felt like I was going to lose a back vertebrae or something. It was just a little bit much weight.
We laugh, but actually, carrying a heavy handgun can be bad for your back.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Or in the wrong spot, even a compact in the wrong spot, and you sit down in your car seat and.
Mm-hmm.
I actually pinched something in my back for a while. I went to a real behind the back carry for a while and was leaning against the gun when I was sitting, and that was a bad deal. I ended up spending some time with a chiropractor on that one. So.
I know of a police officer that actually had to retire early from the force because he was knocked down carrying a backup gun in that same position and destroyed his vertebrae.
Yeah, I remember that.
So you got to be real careful where you carry that. If you're, you don't know when you're going to be attacked either. So if you do carry back there, the chances you saying, "Hey, wait, I don't want to fall right here or on my back in this specific position," is probably not going to happen.
Probably not happening.
Yeah, I only carry one gun, but I carry 11 mags.
Okay, and a backup recoil spring and
cleaning kit.
Because that way, if you shoot more than 10,000 rounds in the gunfight, you just swap out your spring.
Right. Give me a second, guys.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. Well, with any luck, knocking on everything here, I hope we're going to have some good news in a couple of weeks about this Gun Talk gun I've been trying to bring to market for 3 years now.
Yeah, but I haven't been buying any food in anticipation for us.
Well, I would hope not. Well, see, and just think, if you don't buy food for a while, then you'll be able to carry more guns because your waist is smaller.
Right. Oh,
and
I
mags.
like the way you think, yeah.
There you go. So what you got to do is go take out a new credit card. Don't put anything on it yet. So we want to have a nice, fresh credit card with a good credit limit on it for buying a new Gun Talk gun. Yeah, see, there's a plan. We're going to encourage people to spark the local economy and get into debt.
That's what it's all about.
That is. It's the American way. Exactly. All right, so we're going to treat everybody who's not heard of the after show gets to get a little after show love next week.
Mm-hmm. I know it's going to be really cool.
The greatest hits.
Yeah.
So who knows? It may be like we actually may not make it to 20 years for Gun Talk. After
you guys are really great up until then.
Up till then, and then it just all went downhill.
Yeah, Michelle, we're going to have to hide you from the paparazzi after that show airs.
This is true.
Yep.
They're going to want pictures. You know that. Okay. They say, okay, yes, she has a sexy voice. We want to see pictures.
I shudder to think of the Gun Talk calendar if Jim's involved.
Oh, man.
You're getting February, dude.
Okay. All right, I'll take it.
Look, where'd Michelle go? She walked out on us.
They say any coverage is good coverage. I'll take it. Michael, I'm going to assign you to spend the next hour looking for magazines for your revolver on Brownhouse.
Oh,
Let me know when you find them.
okay.
Okay, wait. I know a guy who carries a revolver and a magazine.
I remember this.
Do you remember this?
Yeah, it's
The whole cylinder?
He carries a 45
right.
ACP revolver and a 1911 mag, and that's his speed loader.
That's probably a really good idea.
And you know, when you think about it, you think, actually, that makes all the sense in the world. Because you could just thumb those cartridges out right into the chambers of the cylinder. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to flip them around or worry about dropping around.
Speed loader, yeah. Just pull that thing out. You've already got a mag pouch ready to go. Pop that deal out.
Still like to see a timed contest between that and some moon clips or.
I'm surprised. I can't find moon clips anywhere in the city. I'm going to have to order some online. I've been using those H&K speed loaders. Yeah, go to them.
Well, you know, and your gun, the thing is, your gun has to be modified to take moon clips. I mean, your revolver won't take moon clips unless the cylinder's been modified.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, because, I mean, right now there is a space between the back of the cylinder and the breech face, if you will, of the revolver. If you take that cylinder and start cutting into it, or, you know, it's not made so you can insert a piece of steel in there.
I understand what you're saying, yeah.
So
is it a modified
revolver,
cylinder, or do they just ground down the...
They modify the cylinder. They actually grind out part of it out. Now, some of them come from the factory that way. They're designed that way. But if it wasn't designed to take that, then you would have to have that mod done. So there you go. Just food for thought for you before you start trying to buy up a bunch of moon clips and find out they don't work.
Yeah, that's good to know. I'm wondering now, is that those are totally different than the standard those standard clips that use like the handle on them that you twist?
That's a speed loader. Yes, yeah. That's a different deal altogether.
Yeah,
I'm talking about little bitty thin spring moon clips. If you just Google up moon clip, you'll see what I'm talking about.
I think what happens with speed loaders, people use it like they use the term Frigidaire or Kleenex.
Well, yeah.
Anything that's a quick load, they call speed loaders when actually it's just the one with the twist.
It's a very specific device. Yeah. Yes. And they're pretty fat, and that's one of the reasons I love revolvers. But I wouldn't carry extra rounds in a speed loader because that's a big bulky thing.
Right.
If I were to carry extra rounds for a revolver, I would use a loading strip. Mm-hmm. Their TUFF is the brand name, and that can go into a pocket, and you can load 2 rounds at a time into the cylinder from one of those. They work real fast, and these things are stupid cheap. So if you want to carry extra rounds, that's what I would go with.
Yeah, these things aren't too bulky, but they're expensive. They get expensive like mags, too. You know, like you said, those things are $2 a clip versus, I don't know what I spent on these, 14 a piece. So.
Yeah. All right, well, listen, I'm going to bug out and going to go have an early Thanksgiving dinner with the family now. So have yourselves a good Thanksgiving, and we will catch up with you in a couple of weeks.
Sounds fantastic, Tom. Thanks.
Be safe.
So, how did you like basking in the glow of the Gun Talk After Show? I just made that up. We hang around and talk a little more after the radio show every week. You can get it on your computer, iPhone, iPad, and we have a new Gun Talk app that makes it real easy for your Android or iPhone. And we're always hanging out at guntalk.com. Next week, Tom, Jim, Michelle, and Michael will be hanging around after the radio show for another Gun Talk After Show. We hope to see you right here then. Bye.